More than world-class accommodations, the Ritz-Carlton Cleveland is making Northeast Ohio a better place to live through the Community Footprints program. Whether harvesting crops for food banks, supporting Coats for Kids, or the United Way, in this city, the Ritz-Carlton is Cleveland.
What did I find but one of my favorite shows, Gable and Stein's The Drowsy Chaperone? Remember?
The inspiration for one of the country's top musicals? A stag party written by the groom's best friend.
My oldest friend was in charge of the entertainment, and I said, no strippers. I didn't want strippers. And so she created, with Don McKellar and Greg Morrison and a bunch of other people, this 1920s musical called The Drowsy Chaperone, which was really filled with kind of in-jokes and references to things that had happened in our past.
It was only a 30-minute mock musical set in the 20s. No one ever said theater had to be factual.
There's nothing about our lives really represented. There was a cat. We had a cat, and a cat was represented in the show. The cat's been cut.
But two songs from the original made it into the award-winning Drowsy Chaperone, a long journey considering its beginnings.
I never in my wildest dreams imagined that it would be something that would make it to the Broadway stage. But we knew that there was great stuff in it, and that it was the project that we as a group should work on and make into a full show. I mean, there was no man in chair in the Gift, obviously.
Okay.
It was more, at that time, a parody of musicals of that period. And because we didn't want to simply present a parody, we came up with the framework of Man in Chair so that we could comment on the difference between performance at that time and present day.
The story alternates between a man's dreary New York apartment and a romanticized musical world. Hilarious stuff, if you write it the right way, like when the bride's lamenting her wedding being called off. Martin's writing partners put those feelings into song.
What they did give to us was a song about monkeys. A good collaboration is one which you can yell at people. So we were, and then we realized, oh no, this is extremely funny. That my reaction to that number became about how bad the lyric is, and how it was a song in this old musical that was just terrible. And that became a much funnier moment in the show than simply than being on the nose with what we needed to say in the story.
Martin's background? Improvisational comedy, which you may not think would translate well to theater. Think again.
The skill set that I have as an improviser is more closely married to my skills as a writer. Mm-hmm. Improvising dialogue is very similar to the process of actually creating it when you're writing. Mm-hmm. It's just quicker, basically, and public.
Martin's approach jumps out at you from the beginning as the show opens in the dark.
What we wanted to do was present this character of Man in Chair as really an audience member. So we felt beginning in the dark and voicing the thoughts of someone waiting for a show to begin was the appropriate way to do the show.
Metaphors? Well, Martin's Canadian, and The Drowsy Chaperone kind of takes a look at American culture and Broadway from our northern neighbors' point of view.
Mm-hmm. Man in Chair is just a guy whose only experience or primary, anyway, experience of musicals is through record albums, reading liner notes and listening to albums and imagining the show in his mind. So I guess that's the Canadian part of it, the distance from the cultural thing that we're observing.
Obviously, Martin's observations have caught on, taking more than Bob by surprise.
Drowsy showed that on Broadway you can start from the most humble possible beginnings. You know, a drunken lark. You really can't get more humble than that. I'm just a guy, right? And it was very strange being all of a sudden a Broadway performer, because all of us, I was completely perceived in a different way. I was all of a sudden, oh, you're a Broadway performer. And I was like, really? To be walking down the street and thinking, oh, I'm too thin, I'm losing my hair. And to have people in the street say, I love you. It's a very strange experience. Well, what do you say? I love you too.
Oh, I love you too.
Don't shoot me.
Bringing Northern Ohio to your door every month, Northern Ohio Live magazine's proud to support Live from the Circle. Dining, theater, basically all that's unique to our region can be found on NorthernOhioLive.com. Arts, culture, and living. Northern Ohio Live.